Hey, I'm Dane,
And I'm Holden
and we'll be presenting on Ford's digital marketing strategy today.
on behalf of Benton, Elson, and Mason as well. So let's take you through our agenda. First, we're going to start off with the background, kind of Ford history, how that's going to tie into our overall strategy, some of the challenges that Ford faces today, and then the target audience, obviously, that'll lead into the buyer persona, more specifically exactly who we're trying to nail down, and then the messaging, the project plan for the website, the more digital aspect of it, and then the style guide, really getting into the nitty gritty, and then again, the strategy, kind of the umbrella, what we're really trying to hammer home with this digital marketing strategy. And then, of course, what you're here for, the key takeaways.
I'll start us off with a little bit of background about Ford. So Ford has been American-made since 1896. The iconic Model T was released in 1908 by Henry Ford, and Ford has pretty much been in our history for years. They built the biggest assembly line in the world has ever seen, and has helped us assemble thousands of B-24 Liberator bombs after the Pearl Harbor attack. In the 2008 financial crisis, President George W. Bush gave out $700 billion loans to Chrysler and General Motors, but guess what? Ford didn't take a single penny and continued to provide jobs and service to the American people. This is what Ford is about, and this is what we're going to expand on throughout the rest of the presentation.
That's exactly right, Dane. Some of the challenges that Ford faces today are how are they going to, they started out as this American brand. How are they going to maintain that reputation as being a distinctly American industrial icon while secretly outsourcing labor and production, not so secretly. So this digital marketing strategy is going to be how we as Ford are bringing back that labor and production back to America, especially during these tough times, and how we are going to be the American brand. And then you'll see as another part is Ford has been getting a bad rep about not actually being that reliable, not that low cost. How are we going to change that in the eyes of the consumer?
So let's get into our target audience here. We're trying to target middle-aged men and women who are passionate about American culture and taking pride in domestic manufacture. Furthermore, we've done some research and found out that men are targeted to the Ranger, the F-150, the Raptor, and the Expedition, while women are more appealing toward the Edge and the Escape, smaller SUVs. There's a problem here. Ford has a lot of vehicle options. COVID-19, a nation is divided, and it's unreliable. So what we need to do is pivot our digital strategy to focus on who we want to be and not who we're currently perceived as.
So here's Scott, our first buyer persona, kind of touching on what we've talked about. Scott is a 39-year-old high school football coach. He wants a new car that can fit his whole family. He's got kids. He's got an undergraduate degree. He's a former college athlete, and success to him is a wife that's happy with the car, purchasing a car that looks and feels good, but really is reliable at the end of the day. He doesn't want to be taken into the shop. He's worried about cutting costs, and that comes with cars breaking down, and he's tired of that. So how are we going to provide him with a Ford that's reliable and going to stay on the road for a long time? This is Mary, our second buyer persona. Mary is a 37-year-old dental hygienist. She's purchasing a new car that fits her children and looks cool. So again, this is more of the Ford Edge, the more sedan type vehicles we think from our research. Her kids love riding in the car, and there's plenty of space, so that's a big plus for her. And a car that has enough everything that she's willing to pay for. So again, really touching on the key points of reliable, spacious, and just able to do the everyday tasks, everyday American tasks, and stay on the road for a long time. We're going to do that for Mary.
Now here's a customer journey map that our buyers may go through. At the end of the day, they're looking for a goal, and that goal is to get a new car. So what we need to do is we need to take into consideration how Ford can play a part in helping them get this new car. If you really look, we'll leave the slides. You can go and dive in depth into what we're doing here and what we see. But at the end of the day, we want to be taken into consideration. We're doing that through these different alternative methods, and that's what we're going to talk about later on.
Sir. So built Ford tough. A little fun play on words there. Again, Ford history, we were making B-24 bombers back in the day, serving Americans, helping beat the Nazis back in Germany. And today, we're tough, we're reliable, we're in a pandemic right now, and America is going to unite around Ford in this heavily divided time.
So the message architecture here that we're trying to do is we're trying to institute a heavy focus on patriotism and domestic pride, all behind the Ford name. So some content messaging examples that we may include is the fact that we're rooted in history. We're made by Americans for Americans. We join millions of other Americans on the road with Ford. There's a large community base. It's something to be a part of. Americans love being a part of something. We want them to be a part of Ford. We're America's most trustworthy brand. We're tough, we're hard, and we're reliable.
So here's our style guide, getting more specific with it. Again, the font that we use specifically in this digital marketing campaign, we want it to be extremely tough, strong, kind of like the example Excluded doesn't have much to do with it, but the font, you can see it's bold, it's loud, and we wanted to reflect this strong tone, bold lines. Cinzel is specifically the font we'll be using. And in terms of where we're going to be shooting these things and how we're going to move forward with the production, we actually don't have to rent out any space. We don't have to worry about buying any of that due to our massive amount of real estate and manufacturing spots and offices around the country. We can shoot everything in-house.
Great point. So a little bit here, this is kind of the way Ford has changed throughout the years, and we're trying to institute a new change within that. Keep the logo, but throughout the years, you can tell how Ford is expanding and differentiating themselves, and that's what we're touching on here today.
So the the broad overview, here's how we're going to communicate our brand value. And that, as I said, with Ford's experience in the past, spearheading through tough times. Right now, it's a pandemic. COVID-19 has taken the world by storm. The world is chaotic. So it was the same way in World War II, Vietnam War, times of chaos. People were nervous. Our overall strategy here is we want to put Ford at the center of these tough times. We want to bring people together around Ford and, kind of take the consumer back with Ford's rich history of patriotism, with featuring posts of, military veterans and their families, how we're going to help out small businesses. In the divided climate, just a message of unity and respect. And that'll highlight Ford's commitment to, bringing out the best in America that we really feel will touch the consumer in a time where they really need it.
So the project plan for our website is to feature user-generated content at the end of the day. Americans whose lives have been positively impacted by Ford vehicles, we want to put their testimonials up on our site. We're going to serve as the guide to the consumer in their hero's journey. And we're going to help Americans be American. So who we want to be is America's favorite brand and America's most trusted brand. In order to do that, we're going to develop a lead generator, so it's a downloadable PDF. It's going to feature 10 ways to get 50,000 miles or more out of your car. We're doing this in order to reverse the challenge of being seen as unreliable. And an official Ford blog is what we're going to create as well to position ourselves as a guide for American car users. On this blog, we can help them with auto maintenance tips, wheel and tire tips, driving styles, and gasoline usage that can help them be the most efficient American they are. So we're also going to institute a Drive for America and Small Business Relief campaign. This campaign is going to be used to promote Ford's commitment to American small businesses. Here we can partner with nonprofit organizations. This campaign is going to include an accompanying customer competition via the whole website. So what's going to happen is people are going to compete in designing their own Ford. It's going to be customizable digital models. Customers can post these models and other submissions on their creating thus user-generated content. The winner of this competition will get to choose a struggling small business for Ford to partner with and put in advertising for the Drive for America campaign. The winning car can also be featured on social media, so any small businessman, this is going to be really enticing for you to try and create your own car, get your business behind yourselves, and get behind America.
So here's some cool content example that we thought of, some sort of weekly content, kind of a lead generator that we could use is Truck Tuesday. Just a weekly email that provides value to automotive lovers, get them excited about new products, new features that are coming out throughout the week. And here's some cool looking cars. Here's kind of the content plan overview. Again, some stuff we've already touched on, but our audience is going to be those middle-aged men and women. The messaging is American pride, domestic manufacturing, unity, support. Channels are, what we think, and from our research, that these middle-aged men and women are frequenting the most, which is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And then who we are is going to be, again, strong, safe, reliable, unifying. And the various ways you can measure that: Google Analytics, where it's being clicked, where it's being viewed, where it's being shared, track all of that to really give us great insight and moving forward.
Here's an example of our sample content plan. This is actually our exact example for what it may look like. And at the end of the day, we just want to come along with some key messages. And these messages are that Ford really cares about Americans, American small businessmen, and we understand that it's currently hurting right now. We're all going through something together, and we just want to let them know that we are here for them, we are the company, and we are what they need to be driving.
That's exactly right. And again, here's a sample creative brief, just kind of getting example of what we could put on the desk of a future partner. The messaging, again, tough times during a pandemic, we need to come together. We have our demographic. We have other channels that we could explore, like Fox News, Monday, Thursday Night Football, some specific times and dates, the publications, and then what we thought are kind of a cool imagery art direction for a potential video campaign that we could do, kind of a very dramatic, dark colors, news clippings flashing across the screen with people talking about the pandemic and COVID, and then switch that to that same dramatic shot of Ford workers, manufacturers, and line workers during World War II manufacturing these bombers, and talking about the patriotism and how Ford has been there through tough times. It's not our first time. It won't be our last time. And we're here together as, final shot, the Ford F-150 driving off into the distance, American flag waving. You're getting up out of your seats. You're putting your hat over your heart, and you are proud to be an American. You're proud to be a Ford F-150 driver.
Amazing stuff. At the end of the day, you'll be able to get these key takeaways, or we're going to come out with a heavy focus on domestic pride. We're going to increase our website usability, and we're going to emphasize who we want to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. See you at a Ford dealership near you.